Damn it. So guys, after experiencing this technical issues, um, what we were doing, I can see your message, Sophia. I can read your message. And no, that's not what it means. What it means is that we had a technical issue that we just fixed. Come on. Although, yes, it would be a really good idea, but the weather is good for that. If it were a little bit colder, at least I would say, well, yeah, but no, no, this is not time for sleeping. Perhaps later, you say, like around 9-1 or something. So guys, we were talking about like some kinds of cities, right? So we had 5 different categories, and I asked you guys to basically come up with the definitions of them. So let me just make this bigger. I will share my screen. So guys, first of all, thank you very much. Some of you guys are, again, you guys understood the importance of using the cameras and stuff, and that's always good news. So we had these 5 different kinds of cities, right? So the first one was this, a gateway city. Guys, so based on the discussions you guys had, how would you define this kind of city? What could be a gateway city according to what you guys read?
Well, teacher, what I understood is that a gateway is like a place, for example, in our case, we have to go to Europe, we have to go to the States, and then the States go to the Europe. But I don't know what is the exactly name. So it's like, como para, like a stop that you have to do to to take another flight, for example. Is that
Yes,
what I
yes.
understood?
Yeah, that's it, Felipe. That's essentially it. So a gateway city is a city that you need that you would always use to enter perhaps a region or a country. So, for example, I don't know if people and that's actually something that happens with Bogota, for example. So Bogota, that's one of the possible descriptions of Bogota. Bogota is also a gateway city. If you want to visit any place in Colombia, Bogota is somehow like the most obvious gateway city because, for instance, let's say that you are a tourist who comes from Argentina, for example, and you want to go to San Agustin, you say, so you have to arrive here in Bogota first, and then you would even perhaps take another plane to Neiva, and then you would take a bus to San Agustin, perhaps, but Bogota in that case would be a gateway city, you see. So guys, what do you think are some of the implications of a gateway city? What do you think? If you know, if now you understand that a gateway city is a city that you use as a gate, like as a door, let's say, to enter a country or region. What are some of the implications you think these kinds of cities have? And I'd like you to think about what's going on these days, right? Because there might be some ideas also. What could be some
Well,
implications?
in
Uh-huh.
the case of coronavirus, that will be like horrible because you have to see all people around the world. So you don't know if that person have the virus or no. So you need to be careful, and that is like como un montón, como like something like that is a lot of people. So I think that is
A crowd.
yes a crowd.
There you go. Yes, so that's why I make that question. So that's a very clear example of some of the issues that we can experience when we are when we live, when we are in a city like this, right? So being a gateway city could have uh, more serious sanitary implications. So that's why this whole thing with this whole situation with the virus here in Bogota has been more complex since Bogota is a gateway city. So lots of people arriving here first, and then they would move to other places, or also when leaving. So, well, that is what a gateway city is. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. So a gateway city is a city that you use like a gate or like a door to enter a country or region. The second category we had was an established capital. Guys, so what is a established capital? This time, I'd like to listen to Johannet Martinez. I don't know why I feel that she wants to say something. And of course, we want to listen to her. So, Johanna, would you please tell us what your ideas are about that?
With an established capital.
Yes, please.
Okay, well, that I know that each established capital is when, well, is how do you explain that? It's a city that is established and with economy and with a regular economy and what else? Mm,
Mhm.
that is a state that is I don't know how to say that, but well, I put in this case I put Vienna.
Well, yeah, like most of the examples that we have in the exercise, in the previous exercise, are good examples of that. But I know that this concept is not that easy to describe. But well, I kind of see that you understand what it means. It's like a city which is has that has a stable
Yes.
economy and stuff. Okay, yeah, more or less. Okay, I'd like to listen. Thank you, Johanna. I'd like to listen now to Clara. Clara Monroy, would you please help us with that same definition? Like, if, do you have any additional idea, something else you could say, perhaps? Yep. Hello. I don't know if she's having some technical issues. So let's listen to Tanya. Tanya, would you please help us with that?
Teacher, we were looking for it, and it was like as Johan had said, because we also thought it was like capital, like the investment, the money,
Ah, okay.
something about that. But we are not pretty sure about it because we looked for the meaning,
Mhm.
and it
Yes,
was
yes.
like just
Uh-huh.
it's an
Well,
established
well, there
city.
you go. Well, yes, I know. Yeah, well, basically, yes. Let's do it like that. So basically, an established capital is a city that has been the capital of a country or a state for a long time. So it has all the essential conditions for being a capital as it is. We will see in a moment, and that's something that you guys already read, that there are, if I'm not wrong, three different criteria that the European Union used to describe those cities and to make those categories. So that's something we'll see later, and we'll see how those are criteria for this. By the way, guys, I need to show you something. This word is very important. So, guys, I was talking about this. Let me just show it to you. Sure. Actually, bigger, guys. So this word, these two words actually. No, don't make a translation of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Uh, okay, guys. Sure. So we got these two words in English. So I would like you to tell me, well, this sounds very similar to the words in Spanish, so we know what that is, right? But one of them is a singular form and the other one is a plural form. So I'd like you to tell me which is the singular and which is the plural.
Criteria is plural. And
Criteria, criteria,
criteria, yeah.
so
Criteria and
criteria
criterion
and criterion,
is,
criterion.
is the singular, I think.
That's true, Felipe. Yeah, that actually yes, actually yes. And I don't know if you guys remember why that happens because normally we would say, well, if this is the singular form, the plural form would be this criterions. But no, actually, this is a singular and we use the plural like this. So I'd like you to tell me why that happens because this is something that I talk about actually during the first week, if I'm not wrong. So I'd like you to tell me why you guys think that this happens. No idea? No idea, guys? So I gave you some other examples, like back then.
Another example could be bacteria.
Yeah, that's a good example as well. Yeah, that's an example. Bacterial, bacteria. Yeah, that's the same example. But the question is, why does it happen? Why do we have cases like this? Because in other cases, we would just say, for example, boy, boys, that's it, right? Well, the point is that, guys, that also, although yesterday we were talking about the lenguas romances, remember? So we said that there is a group of languages that come from Latin, right? And English is not one of them. English is not a lengua romance, right? But still, English has a lot of influence from Latin also, and that has historical reasons. So if you guys have a look at the map, um, if you have a look at the map, if you look, like you Google Roman Empire map, you'll see, for instance, let me see. Well, this is a good example. Look at this, for instance. I'm actually look for a bigger one. Well, yeah. I don't know if you can see, guys. Let me see. Oh my God. Come on. Oh my God. Anyways, this is super slow. So, no, not gonna work. So guys, can you see more or less here? I don't know. This map.
Yes, teacher, we can see.
So as you
Yes.
can see, all this area in green, that was like the like 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 the places that this empire reached. So as you can see here, basically what today is England was once part of the Roman Empire, and what we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of years. But still, that the presence of the Roman Empire in England left certain marks, let's say. So actually, that's one of the reasons why English has some elements from Latin, because of the presence of the Romans in England. So actually, you'll see some of that. And some of that, for instance, is some plurals. So there are some plurals in English which follow Latin rules instead of English rules, actually. And most of those plurals are very academic words. You see, like formal academic words tend to be like that. So for instance, another example is this. So if we have, for instance, curriculum, and the plural form is curricula. You see, that's a plural form. And there are lots of examples. So you have to be careful with that. Good news is that this is always in formal settings, formal academic settings, which we may find that. Okay, so that was just a little tip there. Okay, guys, the third category for cities we have is a knowledge hub. A knowledge hub. So I'd like to listen to, let me see, I like to listen to Ana Maria Buendia. What do you know about that? What's a knowledge hub?
Yes, teacher. I'm not sure, but I think that is the where some places, big cities, where you can find universities, schools, universities, important universities. But I'm not sure, teacher.
No, yeah, that's essentially it. Hub, this word hub is almost a synonym of centra. Hub is like, let me think. A hub is a point where different connections are established, let's say. So it's like a connection, more or less. That's another way we could say hub, perhaps. So a knowledge hub is a place where, knowledge in general terms connects. So yeah, as Ana Maria said, perhaps a city that has important universities, but also important research centers, and something like that could be a knowledge hub. So that's essentially it, a place where knowledge connects, let's say. In a moment, we will talk about perhaps more examples. The next one, a transformation pole. I would like to listen this time to Dylan. Mr. Dylan, a transformation pole, what would be that?
Okay, teacher, you can hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
For me, the transformation pole are cities with an important role in the role in the national economy for me.
That's true. But apart from that, apart from the impact it has on economy, uh, well, I'd like you to think about more about the transformation itself. So yeah, they are important for the economy of the regions, yes. But what's with the transformation? So who wants to say something about that, guys? What a transformation pole is called a transformation pole.
Maybe they cities adapted and transform her
There.
Has changed
their
in his structure, architectural form, with a economy, and that's it.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, those are some of the reasons, and that's also perhaps what Dylan was saying. So those are cities that, well, they are important for the economy, as Dylan said, but also they are changing and they are suffering a series of transformations, and that's also transforming the region. You see, those cities are suffering those transformations, and they are affecting the regions as well. And the last category was this. What was this? I'm sorry.
Sorry, teacher, I have a question
Yeah,
about the before concept.
yeah, yeah, please.
That concept is only for a country, or also could be sorry, that concept could be only for a city or could be for a country. Because, for example, I don't know, I will tell you an example, but I'm not sure.
Yes, yes,
For
yes, please.
example, Singapore is a country, yeah,
Hmm.
and is considered a country that now is an important country for Asia, and also their development is very growth. And for Asia is now is a country that is so important for the region, for
Wow.
Asia, for the
Yes,
continent.
yes.
And also for that reason is my question, because a transformation pole could be only for a city that is important into the country, or also could be a country that is important for a region or in a continent.
Okay, Lina, thank you very much for that question. So as you can see, some of these concepts are actually quite flexible. Of course, if we say gateway city, well, we are talking about a city. But if we say a gateway country, that makes sense as well. You see, if you want to go to a certain place in a region, perhaps because of the airports and infrastructure, there are some countries with which could be gateways for certain regions. And same thing happens with transformation poles, as you said. And I absolutely agree with that, with what you just said, Lina. A country like Singapore is an example of a place that has suffered tremendous transformations. And the point is that perhaps when they talk about transformation poles, and we'll see that in a moment, they are talking about regions or cities that are suffering certain transformations and they are changing dramatically. And that also applies for countries. Absolutely, yes. I would say, and same thing happens with, for instance, with modern industrial centra, which is the next one, or a knowledge hub. It could be also countries, not just cities. But just as a comment here on what we are reading right now, as it is in the next two pages right here. Give me one second. Here, this is a categorization that the European Union created for cities specifically. You say, so it's like this was made specifically for cities, but I believe that we could also use those categories for countries. We can adapt them somehow, I believe. You see?
Yes, teacher. Okay.
Okay, but thank you, Lina, for that question. And the last one was a modern industrial centra. So what is that, guys? I'd like to listen this time to let me see, somebody haven't, Juan Paramo. I would like to listen to you, mister.
Sorry, teacher, can you repeat the question? My audio failed.
Yeah, what's a modern industrial centra right here?
A modern industrial center?
Yes.
like a big city in that have an incredible structure, maybe
That has
has sorry.
an incredible structure. Well, that sounds a little bit made up, but well, yes, infrastructure is important for a modern industrial center, right? But okay, somebody else, guys, wants to say something else, guys? Perhaps? No, 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 no. Modern industrial center.
Could be technology. Boils um, in a place, but with technology. Sounds so.
So technology is important.
Teacher, well,
Absolutely,
a
yes.
part that has like a cultural thing, it also has like a modern industrial, as Jose, I think that's what Jose said, that is the technology, but it's like a mix. Could be that the technology and also the like the industrial, like the things that in the past or something. Yes, it's like a mix.
Yeah, essentially that has to do with infrastructure, and that's something we'll essentially see in a moment. So actually, I will jump to the reading just to see those descriptions because they were quite important. So give me 1 second. No, actually, no. Let's wait a moment before we do that. So, guys, these were some examples of those cities, right? So now I would like us to try to make this connection with our country and perhaps try to think about examples of cities like this in Colombia. And we'll see that it's a little bit harder to do that here in Colombia because cities are a little bit more similar. So I would say that in Colombia, we have like big cities, medium-sized cities, and then small cities. Just talking about cities. So if let's forget about towns, for instance. If we just think about cities, we have big cities like perhaps Bogota, Medellin, Cali, Barranquilla, right? Which are big cities. But still, there is a very big difference between cities like Bogota and Medellin. You see, Bogota is way bigger than Medellin. And just for you to have an idea, uh, we have districts like localidades, which might be as big as some of the cities. So if I'm not wrong, for instance, talking about population, just Kennedy itself, it's almost the size of Cali. You see, so this is like wow. So the difference between the big cities in Colombia is very big itself. But for instance, if we think about a gateway city in Colombia, we essentially have three, which are Bogota, Medellin, and Cartagena. Those are cities that when people come from other countries, they can go directly there. You see, so those cities have actually international airports, so people can go from a different country directly there. Actually, the best examples of this are Bogota and Cartagena. There is no doubt about that. Those are examples of gateway cities. People can go there directly from other countries. Established capitals. Well, big cities here in Colombia are established capitals. So as I said, Bogota, Cartagena, Cali, Medellin, those are examples of Barranquilla, of established capitals. Those are cities which are important for the regions and they are a point of reference there. Knowledge hubs, guys. What examples of knowledge hubs do we have? Well, the most obvious would be Bogota again. You see, Bogota would be the best example of a knowledge hub because of the number of universities and all the different research institutions we've got here. But apart from Bogota, the second option, there is no doubt, would be Medellin, right? So we know that there are lots of innovation centers and stuff. So perhaps Bogota and Medellin would be examples of knowledge hubs. Transformation poles, cities that are changing importantly. So some of those, perhaps some of the best examples here in Colombia, some of them might be, for example, Bucaramanga. Bucaramanga is a city that has changed dramatically during the last years and is becoming more and more and more important. And also cities in the Eje Cafetero, right? So
Teacher, and what about Santa Marta?
Santa Marta, well, Santa Marta is what they call, and this is something we'll see later, they call it an specialized pole. That's the name for the, like a more technical name for that, a specialized pole. And why? As you'll see in a moment, a specialized pole are those cities that are focus on certain industries. You see, so for instance, in the case of Santa Marta and Cartagena, they are very important touristic centers. So they are specialized poles. So if you ask me, I would say that Santa Marta is a specialized pole, and that's something we'll see just in a moment. Um, I don't know if it's a transformation pole because Santa Marta has been focused on tourism for so many years, and still it has that potential to grow. So I'm afraid it will. I'm not afraid. I believe it will continue to be an important point of reference regarding transformation. But there are some other cities that don't have that identity. You know what I'm saying? So in the case of Cartagena or Santa Marta, they know that tourism is so important, so they continue developing that industry. But there are some other cities that are somehow discovering that identity, and they are like investing on different areas. So that's why I talk about the example of Bucaramanga. They are doing some really amazing stuff there, and they are discovering that identity. So I believe the best example of a transformation pole in Colombia, I believe, is Bucaramanga. If you read more about Bucaramanga and what they are doing, they are a very good example of that. Then a modern industrial center. Well, once again, Bogota and Medellin would take the lead there. And well, the big cities in general terms are going in that direction. They are also important industrial centers, but Bogota, Medellin, I would say perhaps Cali and Barranquilla would be the best examples of this. Then, guys, we had all this vocabulary. So we will not do anything special right away. But this is some vocabulary that you guys had to look up in the dictionaries, right? So I'd like to know if you guys have any doubt, any question regarding this vocabulary from the next exercise. Is there anything that you
Here,
guys?
I have a little question about the eastern and western and northern and southern. Exactly. Well, the
Uh-huh.
simple word is east, west, north, and south. Why, why put it ERN?
Okay. Oh, that's a super good question, actually. So in this case, when we talk about north, east, west, and south, we are talking just about the locations. And to understand better what's the difference, we have to talk about this parts of a speech. You know what parts of a speech is, guys? What's that? No idea what parts of a speech are?
Yes, the part of a speech are
Yes.
nouns, are pronouns. Well, those things are
Well,
nouns, verbs,
uh-huh. Okay, good. Well, those are examples, yes. But somebody else wanted to say something, I think. I heard a woman's voice. No? No, no, no?
Teacher, I'm not sure, but pronoun, verb, adjective.
Yeah, that's exact that yeah, that's also what Felipe said. So those are examples, but basically parts of a speech, it's a categorization for the different kinds of words that we have in the language regarding their function. So just to make it easier, parts of a speech are kinds of words. We could also call it like that, kinds of words. In Spanish, we call this categorías gramaticales. That's how they call them. But in English, they call them parts of a speech. And if you translate that, that makes no sense to me because parts of a speech would be like partes del discurso, but I don't understand it. But basically, parts of a speech are the kinds of words. So for instance, as Felipe was saying, and also Ana Maria, the parts of a speech are, word like the different kinds of words like pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, and all of that. So talking about the question that we just had, like what's the difference between west and western, south and southern? Like when we talk about north, south, east, west, those are nouns. You see, those are nouns. So that means that they refer to the locations. You see, so those are the locations. I live in the south. I live in the east. I live in the north. I live in the west. So those are nouns. But these other words that we have here in this chart, these are not nouns. They say which of these words could be used to describe. Those are words that we use to describe. And what's the part of a speech that corresponds to words that we use to describe, guys? What are the words that we use for describing?
Adjective.
There you go. It's adjectives. So that's a difference, basically. Like as a noun, we have, for instance, north. And as an adjective, we have northern. You see, that's basically the difference. So this is the adjective that corresponds to this noun. You see, so just you can say I live in the north, but you cannot say I live in the northern, because we are missing something. So we could say I live in the north, or I live in the northern part of the city. You see, that's basically the answer. Okay.
Okay, thank you, teacher. It's clear.
Yeah, so north is noun, northern adjective. So we have some other words, guys. I don't know if you have any problem with any of these words.
Teacher, not with this word, but I have a doubt with some word that I saw yesterday. For example, maybe it's the same explanation that you say for the word tourist and tourism. What is the difference between them?
The words tourist, you say tourist, that's one.
Yeah.
And the other
Give
one
me a second.
was
Tourism.
tourism, like this? No.
Yes.
No, because no, this is not possible. Actually,
Or so
this word is wrong. I don't know. Perhaps tourism. This word exists, for instance.
Yes, it's that word, and the other is tourism. But I don't know.
Oh my God! Would you please spell it? Because I don't know if I'm writing it wrong. So it's like
Yeah,
this.
I will chat. I will write on the
Well,
chat.
okay, great. I can still read the comment from Sophia. That was so fun. That's super funny. Oh, that's another question I have for you. I will make it in a moment. Tourism. No, I don't know, because I have never seen this word. Oh my God, let's see, because as you can see, when I put it here on word, it was a mistake. So I have never seen that word, tourism. I've never seen it. No, look, it doesn't exist. It says that it doesn't exist.
No, I don't know. Or maybe how, es que no me acuerdo antes si la coloqué mal. Oh, turístico,
Oh,
¿cómo se
no,
dice?
that's touristic. Touristic. Yes, touristic, like this. Yes, turístico
But
is
it's
touristic.
different, yes.
And this, yeah, and you were right. It's exactly the same explanation we have. Well, it's not exactly the same explanation we had, although we in that case, for instance, we have the main word would be tourism. So tourism is the main noun, you say, so it's like, turismo. Tourist is also a noun, so both of them are nouns. And this one refers to the person who does the activity itself. So it's also a noun. And touristic is an adjective, you see? So yeah, that would be basically the difference. So we have two nouns and an adjective. So tourism is important for Cartagena. A tourist arrived in the restaurant, and touristic place, you see? So those are like the different parts of the speech in that case. Okay. So guys, also here, we got some other words that perhaps are new. Like most of them, perhaps we understand them, but for instance, this word, guys, this expression, run down. What's run down? Did you guys find it?
Well, it's like I want to put a example with a castle. I don't know. Let's say when the castle ran down. So, um, I don't know how do you say. Um, well, it's a old castle,
Yeah.
so
Yes. Yes.
exactly
Yes.
the castle. I don't know for just a reason, another reason, whatever reason, the
Uh-huh.
castle down with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. For example, with that.
Yes. Yeah.
How do
But
you
I think
how do you say terremoto?
earthquake. Earthquake. Let me just put it.
Earthquake, for example, with an earthquake, so the old castle right down. Earth, earthquake.
Earthquake. So yes, yeah, you're right. But remember that these are adjectives, so we need to know how to use them. So in that case, we wouldn't say the castle run down. No, uh, it was a rundown castle, for instance. There is a rundown castle because it's an adjective. But yeah, rundown means in bad conditions, right? So for instance, we say here in Bogota, a rundown sidewalk, for example. You know what a sidewalk is, guys? The sidewalk?
Is the the side that the people can walk.
Yeah, there you
The
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes,
sí,
yes,
como
yes,
el
yes.
andén.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So a
Teacher, but I
rundown,
have a question.
yes, mister?
A sidewalk is not a place that is, for example, like a village that is in the countryside or something like that.
Excuse me, I was reading something in the chat box. Would you please repeat the question?
Well, sidewalk, yes, sidewalk is the place where the people can walk, but sidewalk is not a place that is, well, it could be like a village that is similar to the countryside. Is not that word?
No, I don't think so. Because sidewalk essentially is like, like the and then. But let's see if there is another, if it's another definition. Now look, a flat part at the side of a road for people to walk on. That's the only definition they have, you see? So no, a sidewalk would be el andén. And we have the British counterpart, which is funny, which is the pavement. But no, you see, this is the only definition. A flat part of a side of a road for people to walk on. You see?
Okay, thank you.
But I don't know. Like now I'm thinking about what you just said because
Yes, is that I think that is similar to is a place, for example, like yes, it's similar to the countryside. It's like a short part of the countryside, but I'm not sure.
we have to think about it. Yeah, but okay, thank you. Now I was reading, Clara says, tourism is the action or verb, touristic the place, and tourist is the people. So the tourist is a noun for describing people, yes. Touristic is a characteristic to describe a place, and tourism is the activity. It's not action or verb. That's not a verb. It's a noun also, as I said, but it refers to the activity in general terms. Okay. So we have rundown, which means in bad condition. So a rundown sidewalk, a rundown road. Okay, so we would use this adjective to describe something which is in not very good conditions. Past industrial. So that would be, of course, we can see here perhaps a region or a place that was industrial before, but now has different activities, different conditions. And for instance, I live in Puente Aranda in this district. So as you may know, Puente Aranda has been a quite industrial district, but now I don't know if you've heard about a area now that is called Distrito Graffiti. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yes.
It's really cool, actually, Distrito Graffiti. It's really cool because um, Vereda. We'll have to check in a moment, Felipe. So there was as region here. I mean, as area here in the city, which was quite industrial, but now it's different, and there are more like offices in those places and everything. So we could say that that's a post-industrial area in the city. So big, blah blah blah. The rest of them we know them. Um, Also, guys, remember this spelling. Remember, I said something yesterday about this spelling. For instance, in the word specialized. that we can write this word with S or with Z, remember. In the case of S, we are talking about the British spelling, and with Z is the American one. Okay, guys, so this is just some of the vocabulary that we can use to talk about, cities and so on. So guys, now this is based on the text. This is based on the text. So the first question, guys, like I would like you, this is part of your homework. So give me one second. I would like you guys to think about that, but give me one second. I'm just trying to, okay. Oh, okay, guys. Let me say, wow, this is so long. Okay, guys. So we have a series of questions. The first one says, which three ways of classifying a city are mentioned in paragraph 1? So they mention three different ways, which in other words could be the criteria. This is what I was talking about before. So what are the three criteria they use for describing a city, guys? According to the text, there are three different criteria, right? Do you guys remember?
Well, teacher could be, I remember that, how big cities are, economic factors, and the third could be how, like a culture factor, because
Excellent, excellent.
they talk about artists and musicians.
Musicians, yes, exactly. So it's three different criteria: size, cost, we could say it, cost, and cultural factors. Those are the three criteria that they took into account. Okay, size, cost, and cultural factors. Excellent. The next question was, what factors did the European Union's study of the state of Europe cities concentrate on? So they say that the European Union study concentrated on two specific factors. You guys remember that?
Economic,
Economic.
economic and financial factors.
Well, it's essentially, yeah, economical factors in general terms, and also population, right? Population, right? So it's population and economical factors. Then in the question number 3, which is where I wanted to get, they say, how many types of city did the study identify? How many types?
Three types.
What are those types?
Where the where international have specialized pole, regional pole.
There you go, guys. So let's start by the international hubs. So in the reading, the international hubs, we got it here. We have a definition here. So international hubs are big cities with an international reputation, you see? So in the case of Colombia, what do you think are those cities here in Colombia that have an international reputation?
Well, could be Medellin and Bogota. Some
Uh-huh.
Cartagena.
might
Cartagena.
And
are
Cartagena, of course, yeah. I would say those three cities, Bogota, Medellin, and Cartagena, they have international reputation. So people, when you talk to people about Colombia, they would think of those three cities immediately, right? So yeah, those are good examples. Then the next one we have is specialized poles. And this is when Felipe asked me about Santa Marta, I said, in my opinion, Santa Marta is a specialized pole because look, it has an important role in the national economy and sometimes in the global economy. So it has a specific role, you see. So we know Santa Marta as a touristic city, for example. So that's why we say that's a specialized
But
pole.
it's not only a tourist, but it's because Santa Marta has the most important port in America. I think that is more for that reason. or not?
Well, that would be another good important reason. But you see, like in that case, that's a very good example because when we think about the city, we can see we can identify those two specialized, you know, areas or sectors. You see, and actually, I'm gonna teach you guys another. Let me just. I'm gonna show you another important word, which is very important for talking about, you know, cities and stuff. And the word is this: econ, cluster, economic cluster. Okay, so economic cluster is almost like we could say like economical uh, group somehow. And actually, even this term is so specialized that they sometimes, or like sector, it sounds more like sector. We even use it in Spanish. So you can read that. You say like un cluster económico. So what they refer to cluster, an economic cluster is like a group of companies or a group of, yeah, like a group of companies and people who work on on the same industry, let's say. So they work together, so the industry grows. So for instance, in the case of Santa Marta, the touristic cluster is perhaps the most important, and also, you know, the ports. And that happens also in a city like Buenaventura, for example. Those are specialized poles because they focus on those areas, and there are specialized clusters like this, like economic clusters like this one. Okay, so those are the specialized poles. And then we have the regional poles. So the regional poles are the small to medium-sized cities that have an important place in the region or province. And here we can think of lots of examples, guys. What examples come to your mind when you see this definition?
Madrid.
Excuse me?
Madrid. Madrid, Dinamarca.
Well, yeah, well, yes. In Cundinamarca, we got lots of examples, but perhaps I don't know because I don't know because I would think in my case, in my opinion, I would think of also like capitals of departments, capitals of states, right? But they are not that big. I don't know.
Well,
So,
I think that Madrid is important because here we have the it's like a base military base military
uh-huh,
base. So I think that for that reason it's important. And here maybe we will have the El Dorado 2.
uh-huh.
So for that
Okay. So normally in the
I
case of
think,
yes, yes, yes. Uh-huh.
sorry, I think that an example of regional parks could be Villavicencio, maybe.
Yeah, that's a very good example. It's a very good example because, you know, although, you know what, I would have two categories for that. So one of them is a regional pole, of course, because the city is very important for the whole region, for the Llanos Orientales region. So it communicates the rest of the country with the Llanos. So that's very important. But also we could say that Villavicencio is a gateway city, you see? Also a gateway city, because if you want to go pretty much to any place in Los Llanos, you would perhaps have to go via Villavicencio. So I would say Villavicencio is both a regional pole, but also a gateway city. Those would be two possible examples. And the rest, pretty much the rest of the cities in Colombia could be regional poles. With, if we think, for instance, about an example like, other cities like, I don't know, Neiva, Ibagué, perhaps they are important for the regions, and they somehow connect the rest of the country with the different towns they've got there. Okay, guys. So that's essentially it, and this is a very useful, I believe, useful categorization that we could, use anytime we talk about other kinds of cities. That's essentially it. So, guys, this is the last exercise in that part of the homework we had, and that's about matching this concept city types with a series of definitions we've got here. So, guys, in the case of established capitals, what is the the definition that best matches that? What would you say? What would you say?
I would say that one is B.
One is based. So established capitals, usually the national capital, lots of organizations have their headquarters in the cities. They're also the centers of national administration and public services. That's
Yes, I
a,
think that is
mhm,
it is.
yeah,
Yes.
that is true. That is true. And look, this definition also helps us not just to understand better that, but also perhaps to think about negative implications. So it's like it's good to live in a established capital, of course, but what could be a possible negative implication of this, guys? What do you think? What do you think? What could be a possible negative implication of having this concentration of important things in one specific city, as it happens here in Bogota, for example?
Well, I think that as I said, is it will be like a crowd of people, so that will be horrible. I think
Well,
that
yeah, population, but also, talking about administration itself is like sometimes people like, and this is part of a criticism have some people have. They say that a country like Colombia is too centralized. You see, it's a very centralized country, which means that everything is here in Bogota and everything is managed from this city. So sometimes some of the problems that we have in the country, we have them because these organizations are not fully aware of the needs that people have in the regions. That's what they say, right? So that's why there are lots of bad things that happen in the country, and it's partly because these organizations don't have contact with the regions. You see, so centralization could be a problem of having established capitals, just to say. The next one, reinvented capitals, guys. Number two, reinvented capitals.
With the C?
So these cities are important in international economies as well as in the global economy. Usually the cities have moved on from an industrial past to modern economic activities. They are often in Eastern European countries, in this case, the most recent members of the European Union. So yeah, of course, that's a good definition. So basically, we are talking about those cities that have changed their roles dramatically. That's one of the examples I gave you was Bucaramanga. This is something which is happening with that city, and also with cities in the Eje Cafetero, for example, that are moving from completely different economies. So yeah, that's a very good example. And last but not least, we would have the knowledge hubs, which are these cities with an important role in the global economy, important centers for international trade, industry, business, and finance, for instance. And also, of course, the case of the universities and everything is very important here. Okay, guys, we are going to skip the exercise numbers 10 as it is super, super specific. And instead, what I would like you guys to do is to work on the exercise number 11. So what we gotta do now, guys, is basically to match these concepts that we have talked about before: transformation poles, gateways, modern industrial centers, research centers, visitor centers. So we have some additional, as you can see here, descriptions or definitions. So what I would like you guys to do is to do this exercise, exercise number 11. So if that's okay with you guys, I would like to do it in a breakout room this time, and hopefully Zoom will keep me here, so it won't kick me out of the um, of the room. So let's do this. Give me 1 second. We're gonna recreate the groups. Okay, so I just created again 5 groups. Guys, remember what we are gonna work on now is the exercise 11. Okay, exercise 11. You guys are gonna match the city types with the definitions. That's what we're gonna do. Do you have any question, guys, about that? No?
No, teacher.
Okay, guys. So we're gonna do this really quick before se vayan a mimir, como dijeron por ahí. So please don't do that. Okay, so let's go. Me so bad. So guys, I was thinking about the question that Felipe made before about the sidewalks and stuff. So I was thinking about that. So I checked on the dictionary. So sidewalk, right? So we said that sidewalk is anden, and he said like, well, it has to do something with vereda. Well, you know what's the point there? That in Spanish, in Spanish we have at least 3 different words to refer to a sidewalk. So some people say anden, which is perhaps the most common word here in Colombia, but also in the south of South America, they also say vereda, you see? So for instance, I don't know if it's in Argentina. I think it's in Argentina. I know it's in
Yes,
South
teacher.
America, right?
Yes, teacher, it's there.
There you go. So in Argentina, they say vereda to refer to the anden. Sí, entonces ellos dirían, iba caminando por la vereda, just with an Argentinian accent, of course. So they say vereda instead of anden. And also even in some other parts, like in Central America, they would say banqueta, for instance. So you see, so the banqueta is el andén. So that's the point. So Felipe was right. It's like sidewalk is also vereda, but not the vereda we know in Colombia, but the vereda they would know in Argentina, you see? So that would be the sidewalk. And the vereda we know, as we know it here, would be more something like path or lane, more or less. Because a path or lane could be, although there are more meanings, of course, because lane can also be just a carril, you see? So, por ejemplo, una vía de 2 carriles, so it's a 2 lanes way, you see? So it's 2 lanes, 2 carriles. But lane can also be a vereda, which is like a rural path, you see, like a rural path which has no pavement, but it's just rustic, you know, it's rural, so we could call it also lane or path, you see. So those are the differences, just in case. Okay guys, so I think that's it for today. Remember, I'm gonna create the assignment on Moodle so you can upload the book report. So that's it. We don't have additional homework for this weekend. I'm so sorry for that, guys. I know you guys might be super disappointed because you were waiting for Friday because you said, I know we're gonna have so much homework assigned for the weekend, and now you guys see that I'm not assigning any additional homework. So that might be disappointing, guys. I swear on my life, I will change in the future. So you come here to the class and you leave with your homework as it should be. But that's something I'll do in the future, not today. Remember, next week we're gonna have the exam. So my suggestion would be, guys, to just check on what we've done. As I said, I've tried to focus more on speaking during this first term. So that's more or less what we're gonna do. Talking about the topics, guys, just check the syllabus, the kinds of topics we have there. I haven't focused fully on the syllabus the way it is proposed there, but I've tried to give you perhaps more vocabulary and more time for practicing and stuff. But anyways, on Monday, I will explain in detail what the exam will be and the dates and everything. So that's something we're gonna discuss on Monday. So in the weekend, please make sure you upload the book report and be ready for discussion on Monday. Okay, guys?
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Okay, teacher.
Also, talking about homework and stuff, learning menu was for that. So it's like that's one of the reasons why I'm not assigning homework every day, because you're supposed to already have it. It's like you already have a plan of homework, you see, of things to do. So there you go. There you go, guys. Entonces llega el momento más activo de la clase, que es cuando todos se despiden. Goodbye, guys.
You are
Bye,
done.
Bye.
teacher.
Attendance.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Goodbye, guys. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
teacher.
Thank you. There you go. Everyone talking. You see, perfect.
You are not going to call attendance?
Oh my God, the attendance. Don't worry. Actually, I got the breakout room, so I have the names there. Yeah, thank you for that. But don't worry, I have it. I have
Okay,
the
goodbye.
names.
Have a good one.
Goodbye. Goodbye,
Okay,
mister.
teacher.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye, teacher. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Goodbye.